So it's me again, and the last short video message for you in Mongolia, Romania, and other places as well. And the first two, I mean, it's not a message in that sense, just a reminder that the message God gave us last year about the Peter's two letters seems to be very relevant right now. So what I want to do is to encourage you to go a little bit back and dig into that, because maybe at that time it was not that relevant, even though everything in the Bible is always relevant, but sometimes it's more relevant than other times. So now we have this dispersion because of the virus, and we cannot come together as cell groups or youth groups or even Sunday morning in the church or seminars or School of Reformation. I'm very happy we had the opportunity to do that in February before the whole virus issue exploded globally. So in the previous two videos I mentioned why did Peter write the two letters, and I also explained why he was the right person to do that because of his past, his life, and his training program with Jesus himself. And then I explained the risks of the dispersion, to be dispersed and to not be able to stay close to each other geographically or even relationally or in church meetings, events, and so on. And I explained that the risks are the following: discouragement, can be disconnection, can be deviation, can be silence, and finally can be resignation. Just lower down the standard and stay where we are and happy, and if something good happens, it happens. If nothing good happens, it's okay. No, it's not okay, because we are pursuing kingdom advancement, and if we don't do that well, if we don't know how to handle and to run the risk, take the risks and do well, then we will not see advancement for the kingdom. So I think it's a good time of testing of our walk with Him and our walk with each other. Is it program centered or is it person centered, that we are conscious that we belong together and we are walking together and we are carrying something together. There is a common destination. And finally I gave some other examples from the Bible, how believers, Old Covenant believers, New Covenant believers actually were in different types of dispersion or loneliness, and how they handled that. The patriarchs, the matriarchs, Abraham, Sarah, and Isaac, Jacob, and their wives, Elijah, Daniel. I spoke about Israel in the wilderness, Philip on the way away from the revival in Samaria, talking with this Ethiopian administrator, statesman, and he was there alone, but he advanced the kingdom, and that man carried the kingdom message and the kingdom power and the kingdom dynamics and the kingdom heavenly presence back to Ethiopia, and he had no church there. He was the forerunner, so he had to face that. The believers in Antioch, I mentioned also the apostles in Luke 24, Acts 1. All these situations show us very clearly that we have to pass the test. We have to be able to take the dispersion. Actually, even in our normal life, in normal church life, we are on our own from Sunday to Saturday. We are not, maybe that's why churches have program activities to help us survive and not abort the mission during the week. But we should be able to just meet once a week. Why not? And then the rest of the week we can make on on my initiative, on your initiative. We can call each other, we can mail each other, we can Skype each other, we can FaceTime each other. We can take personal initiatives, and it's not programmed, and it's not pyramidal, that the leadership of the church decides how we relate, when we relate, and which way we relate. It's not like that. The first believers, the first generation of believers, they devoted themselves. Which brings me to the main thoughts which Peter addressed in his 2 letters. Number 1 is revelation. In 1 Peter chapter 1, he speaks about the revelation which has been given already to the prophets and have been going down the generations. So Peter says that this is the foundation for all relationship. Revelation has to be settled. We have to dig deeper. We have to cultivate the seed. At the end of chapter 2, I think, in 1 Peter, he speaks about the nature of the seed, which is uncorruptible and unstoppable. So we need to dig deeper, and in season, please dig deeper. Read the Bible, and don't just wait. Don't just go YouTube and listen to all kinds of sermons. Find your own sermon. Dig deeper. That's how we train the young generation. So revelation is important. The second thing Peter wrote about was determination. Be determined and sharpen yourself and gird up the loins of your mind and straighten your thoughts. So he calls upon the minds and the ability to be determined to pursue certain things. We have to do that when we are dispersed and we don't have maybe the support of a Sunday morning meeting or a seminar or a school of reformation. We have to display that determination. And that's why revelation is the first issue, because if you don't have a fresh revelation, you have nothing to be determined about. But as more you understand, the more you see, the more you hear, the more you feel like, whoa, I will go for that. Meeting or no meeting, fellowship or no, I will pursue that. And I will find somebody else who pursues the same thing. Okay, so revelation and determination. I think definition is important. We have to be clear about what we are pursuing. And from time to time we have to define things, or redefine things, or undefine because it has been wrongly defined. Then we have to redefine that. I think we have to do a lot of that. Then the next thing Peter is addressing is to be diligent. That's the first chapter of the second letter. Everything we need, God has provided for us, but then we have to be diligent with that. So there must be revelation, there must be an input, there must be an investment, there must be a download, there must be things which we are laying hold of. Then it helps us to be clear, to be well defined, then we can be determined to pursue that, and then we must become diligent in that pursuit. All right? And the last issue I want to speak about in this short message is devotion. That we have to be devoted, we have to put our lives into it, we have to put our emotions, our will, our whole being, our resources, our skills, our finances, our time. The Bible says so clearly, it has been such a key word for me the last, 20, 30 years, and which triggered a domino effect in my life of redefinition. When I realized that the Bible says they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, which means, first of all, apostolic understanding, apostolic revelation, apostolic definition, and they devoted themselves to that. Then fellowship was shaped in the sense that people begin to connect with others doing the same, not just to other Christians, but to people, believers who are doing exactly the same, receiving the same revelation and having the same definition, having the same determination to pursue it, have the same investment of some efforts to dig deeper, to read the Bible, to communicate, to sharpen one another. Iron sharpens iron. When you find people like that, immediately there is connection. So let's build on revelation. Revelation is progressive, is partial, and we have to dig deeper, to seek more, seek the kingdom of God first of all. Everything else will be given to you. Then definition is important, determination is important, diligence is important, and devotion is important. So may God bless you everywhere, Ulaanbaatar, Bucharest, California, Washington DC, Calgary, Sri Lanka, Colombo, Kandy, Sydney, the UK, London, everywhere where we have covenant sons and daughters, covenant brothers and sisters, and covenant relationships. So God bless you and take care. Work well, relate well, and represent well the kingdom. When God reads your life and sees the progress, doesn't mean to be a lot or to be quick, but there is an obvious, intangible, and readable progress. God will read that because it is readable. Maybe not immediately, but for people, but for God, it is immediately readable. God can read the heart like an open book. When He sees that, He will vindicate your life and He will entrust people to you. And then the multiplication is initiated. God bless you all for now.